Hey everyone, Mango7 here. How we doing today? Welcome to Loyalty's Requiem guide slash overview slash whatever you want to call it. This is really late because I really didn't want to do this until I fully understood it. I don't like putting things out unless I 100% understand it, or at least close to that. That way I give you guys the best information and don't mislead you like I might have in the past when I got a little excited about things. So I'm going to start off just as an overview. Celery here is fantastic. Not only is she super waifu, super tomboy if you like that, super everything, the cutest voice, the cutest cutscenes, the cutest text. She's amazing for everything story-wise, but she's also fantastic in combat. She has a 20% bonus damage to the boss, to whatever though they're called, I forget the name of it, which helps her tremendously. She's basically the best backliner, best frontliner anybody can have in this raid. So everybody should be at least putting a little bit into her to try to get her in the backline. And a lot of people are 5-starring her because she's so fantastic. So in general, the way to start this event is you just need to go through all of this story first. I might as well cover everything, eh? And eventually you will unlock Celery. And when you do unlock Celery, you just need to play with her in your group and she'll eventually join you for good. So don't worry about pumping stuff into her before she joins you, because it'll stay when she does eventually join. We then get into the raid part, and you're going to be repeating Fragonoth's Clash and Assault on Archeol a lot of times. So Assault on Archeol is the Cyclops, and he is what drops bronze medals, and he also drops items to allow you to open the Fragonoth's Clash. And this right here are the items you can see in the top right. And you get, I'm not sure how many per run, but enough, and you need to spam this anyway. For endeavors, we can see defeat King Archeol 20 times. And also for the bronze medals. And then once you get into Fragonoth's Clash, you have two different ways. You can join people's groups, which does take wings, or you can host, which does take these purple shards. I forget what they're called, netherward shards maybe? Beginner standard are pretty easy. You should be able to pub that no problem as long as your account is decent. And once you hit expert, things is where things start getting serious. I haven't actually done a deathless run yet. I'm not actively trying to do it. It'd be really easy to do. But I pub all my runs for the most part, so usually somebody dies. I've almost got it in a pub like 10 times in a row, but somebody dies at the last 1%. Not something to really worry about though. But for expert, you want about 6,000 to 7,000 might, I would say minimum, with a water team, but it really doesn't matter. To give you an example, I have about 7,300 might with my full water team right now, and I know that's terrible, but I'm still able to clear special with a minute and a half left on decent runs. So keep that in mind. Might isn't everything. Player skill and ability and unit choice is more important than might a lot of times, but a higher might with the same abilities and same everything will obviously do better than the lower might one. So expert is pretty easy, and you pretty much learn basic mechanics there. This is where you kind of learn how your party works in a raid, where your vulnerability frames, where your invincibility frames work, and how to maximize your DPS. And if you're the host of Expert, you have a chance every time you do it to unlock the EX/special version of this, which is 34,000 might. That one is much more difficult, and I'll show you a run of that at the end of this video. And that one is pretty much just a DPS at this point. It's really easy to keep people alive, but it's often hard to get the DPS check. I've wiped on it at less than 5% a lot of times recently, mainly because I am grouping with whoever wants to join me in Twitch chat, so it's a little harder than usual sometimes. So those are the main two things you will be spamming there. Strategy mid-battle, the best I can say is just watch somebody else do it if you're having problems. If you find yourself dying or you find yourself failing, you might be a little low on damage, and it might be good to research what's going wrong there, just as a heads up. But the main currency here are these metals, bronze, silver, and gold. And you can see everything you drop here. It does say choice every now and then, and that basically just means, see if I have anything, just means these are the things that are really exciting. So if you're a person trying to look where to farm, you might want to head to where the choices are, see that it takes 3,000, and stop there, because the next choice is up to 6,000. That's pretty much what they're trying to say here. But bronze medals, you only get them from the Cyclops dude on Expert, I think is the best place to farm that. So you need 500 of these, and you will be doing this anyway just for the endeavor, so you might as well get the summon voucher and all these things done. Silver drops in, I think Expert or higher. Don't quote me if I'm wrong, but you shouldn't be farming anything under Expert anyway, unless your might is really low. And if your might is too low to farm Expert, I would honestly do something else until you can get to Expert. And of course, there are all these rewards here. And then gold is the grind. Gold is the grind that takes 6,000. And thank them, the makers, so much for this, because I went to sleep last night with about 900 gold emblems, and I woke up with like 700 in my mailbox, so it topped me up to 713 or 1731. It's not very often a gacha game or any game retroactively adds currency like this after they fix a problem or after they buff something, and I'm so happy for them to do this, because I would have felt like I really wasted the last 2 days with my gold farming, with how much stamina, how much wormite I spent on refreshing. So thank them so much for doing that. As for where you should aim for the gold medal section, to be entirely honest, there's a couple really important ones. First off, every single person should try to get this Knight's Testament. It's much easier now that they buffed Expert's drop rate, so don't worry too hard if you can't do special. And this is used for a lot of things, mainly for the last stage in mana circles. I did use one to unlock my Lily's final mana circle. And after that, the important ones are, where is it here? Sunlight ore is very important. I honestly forget what that's for. I think it's for weapon refines. I'm not sure. Maybe it's for worm prints, but something really good. You know, I know that much. Next up, the important one, another sunlight ore here. And we keep going down. There's another Champion's Testament. And the important ones that get to the high range, and this is where people really need to start thinking if they should keep continuing with this, and that is Twinkling Sand, which are used for 5-star weapon crafts. There's another Twinkling Sand at 1600, I believe. No, Sunlight Ore at 1600, sorry. And then the next Twinkling Sand is at 3000, and then after that, the next Twinkling Sand is at 6000. So as a hardcore player, I'm going to be farming towards this Twinkling Sand, because as of now, there's really no other ways to get too many of them. I think I can't even IRL buy too many of them, so really something to keep in mind. If you're able to grind up to 6,000 and you have fun doing it, which you should, because it's super fun to do so with a bunch of other people, I definitely recommend farming as far as you can get. But for average players, for the casual style player, just try to get to this 1,000 here. That's the important one. That's one of the 2 currencies we have for this. The other is Blazing Summon, and these are gotten from all the content, basically. Everything you do drops these down here. And what it is a gacha in a gacha in a gacha, basically. If you play Fate Grand Order and you know the lottery boxes, it's basically just a lottery box. So we have the contents here. It shows what's in it, and the boxes change after the 5th one, so I can't show you the earlier ones because I've already cleared them. But in general, you have this worm print, which is probably the most important thing in this entire event, and also Pele, who should be up here as well. So you want to open all these up until you get Pele and the worm print, and then you need to look through the materials here and decide if you want to reset it to the next box to try to get more worm prints faster. I personally did reset it because I just wanted to get as many worm prints as possible. I wanted to MLB or fully unbind one of the worm prints and have 3 more on my team, so that's why I did it. But make sure you do not reset until you get the dragon and the worm print, or else you are super screwed. After you hit box number 5, you cannot reset anymore, so now at this point I have to get everything in this box before I can go to the next one. So always remember that too. But the good part is, if you look at the bottom, you can get mana from this. You can get worm prints, which are actually really good because we need the fodder so badly for them. And you can get a ton of other materials for this. Really happy they did this. Lottery boxes are my favorite gacha events, I think, because there's so much grinding in it and it's just so much fun to do. As for everything else, I think I covered most of it, to be honest, outside of the actual gameplay. But one thing I want to show you is Celiera is just so good. I really think if you don't have a strong water unit to DPS, basically if you don't have Lily or Xander or Zanefried or whatever, I would definitely build Celery, and I'm still going to be building her even with having a 5-star Lily because she's just so bonkers. This ability here, where is it? Is it Winter's Blade? No, it's the passive over here. Where is it? Thamian's Bane. This is so unbelievably good against this boss. I think it's multiplicative, which adds a ton of damage to the boss. You can definitely see the huge output you're putting on, and it does affect it. We're not entirely sure what Thamians are at this point, but we do know it works on the boss. That's all we know. And also, you should be limit breaking this Paladin's Defender. So if you take a look at my non-limit broken Paladin's Defender, we have Fagenroth's Bane 20% on this one and 10% on those. And if we look at my MLB'd one here, we have 25%, 20, and 15. But definitely helps out a lot. And also the picture is super pretty, which is awesome. I upgraded mine to level 20. I didn't want to invest too much on it, and if unless I have to. I might invest a little more to try to get the sub 1 minute run, which I'm honestly pretty close to at this point anyway. So that's about it. And I think that's about all I need to cover. As for your team, I would just use whatever water units you have. Even if you have like a really high level Ezoleth like I do, it's oftentimes not worth bringing her because she just gets bodied. Even though she brings a defense down debuff, she just dies so fast. And don't bring healers either. My Hildegard just gets absolutely wrecked too, and I do have a Thaniel, but he doesn't ever heal. So the most important thing is just to bring beefy characters and damage healers, in my opinion. And like I said, I have no problem with a low might team, so as long as your damage is up there, you should be super fine, but definitely try to get the might up if you can. So here you go, onto a run. I talked for a lot. I hope I covered everything. I'm not sure if I did. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, or if you want an immediate answer, come on Twitch and I can answer you in like 30 seconds if you'd rather do that. So here you go. Enjoy this last little bit. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and I will see you guys later on stream. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye now. Okay, so I'm going to do a raid for you guys here. My team is not too high right now. I am in the middle of fixing it, but I was making a video and I got invited to a special raid, so why not do it? I've got an Essen here who can probably be something better. But this is just my team. I even have like a level 1 weapon on her, but it doesn't matter too much. The general idea of how to do special is gonna, you'll see that here hopefully. It's really hard for me to do this while I'm talking, which is why you see me screw up a lot on stream, because I'll often use an ability at the wrong time just so I can look up and see chat, which is the absolute wrong thing to do. So thanks to UV, Laran, and Mazjack for helping me out here, because trying to get these done off stream is a little difficult sometimes. We do these all day on stream though, if you're wanting to join in or wanting to get some help with some clears. So there's lots of very important things, and I'm just going to try to show you how it works in general. I'm going to screw up because, like I said, talking is not the best while we do this. But my first thing I do always, by the way, it's criminal to not have music going, but I can't because YouTube. The first thing you want to do is get straight to the tail, and that is absolute first thing you should do. If you're the host, it's a lot harder because the boss charges right into you and knocks you back. But usually you can just run straight through the tail here, and you'll see I'll be able to get right through, right at the bottom. I actually didn't even have to move there. So the general goal is you want to keep one ability up basically at all times, and I try to keep my third ability up, and I did miss that, which sucks. We want to move to the back. He's going to do his lasers in a second, I believe. Or maybe not. Oh god, this is the lowest DPS you've ever seen right here. So I want to use my third ability right now, but again, there's going to be something I need to dodge in a second. And luckily my team has me, and he's going to do an AoE right here. And there's the AoE, so we want to use invincibility frames there. And I don't like using Leviathan right away, and I often don't like using it there either because he's going to charge a second time. So I am going to lose a lot of DPS because of that, but depending on which way he charges, I do use it on the second charge in general. This is basically my worst run ever, by the way, so I hope this is okay. Either way, they're melting them. Really hard to talk and do this at the same time. But as you can see, I have everybody alive except for Elizeth, who would not be on my team if I had a little more time to fix this. And we are basically killing him here. And we can use Leviathan here, and Leviathan is bonkers for this, as expected. And I like to use my special right at the end, as always. Huge amount of damage in. And it's good to not use your special here because I don't have a second one charged, and if he happens to use one, then I'm in trouble. But I'm about to charge it so I can get it done. And of course, you just ignore the last one here. I'm going to try to kill this leg to get the drop. There we go. And easy run. So we're 57 seconds off the timer there for the 1 minute challenge, and I played terribly. I could have gotten an extra like 25% plus DPS. And I lost one of my characters because I screwed up, so pretty good showing there, I think, of the raid in general. Main things you need to take part of is get used to his pattern, especially on special. That's where it matters. And it's really easy. A lot of things I see people screw up is just using their abilities off cooldown, and then they don't have something to dodge with invincibility frames. And the other biggest thing I can see is those 2 charges on the first volcano. In general, if you have the positioning right, You want his first charge to go away from you against the wall, and then the second charge on the way back will go right through you into the wall where everybody is sitting, and you want to use your dragon right as he charges into you. So you transform, don't take any damage from that invulnerability, frame it, and just unload on him because he's not going to charge after the second. That's the most important thing I can really say here. You can see tons of examples on it on my Twitch VODs if you want to check that out.